Hello, everyone. My name is Dominika Sobolewska, and I'm really glad to be here as a part of the AMP's Prague Research and Teaching Conference. I'm based at the Wrocław Academy of Art and Design in Poland, where I lead Mindful Design Studio, which is a space that explores experimental teaching, interdisciplinary research, and design practices. Today, I would like to share with you some of our experiences in the field of teaching techno-empathy, and I will present an approach I call a post-growth pedagogy for reflective design education. But first, I will get back to the keywords of my speech: empathy and technology. As I can imagine, the juxtaposition of these terms can evoke rather ambivalent feelings. I am aware of the fact that new technologies are not considered to be very empathetic in today's world. Today, they are rather a reason for our concerns about the quality of our lives and our future. And that's because we are afraid of unintended consequences of technological progress. We don't want to become addicted to them. We are scared of the machines becoming like humans, taking our jobs. We are afraid to lose our privacy to techno corporations and smart devices. And finally, we are feared of losing our identity and personality. Today, technology is increasingly viewed as a spiritus movens of psychological crisis, perhaps even as a force with greater destructive reach than ever before. According to some theories, it dismantles existing orders and destabilizes familiar structures. Austrian-American economist of the 20th century, Joseph Schumpeter, famously described the technological progress as a creative destruction. He emphasized the continual replacement and erasure of the established systems. And yet, despite growing awareness of these risks, we seem unable to escape the technological deadlock. This is likely because technology continues to be the main driving force behind design-driven innovation and economic success. Since it is now widely recognized that technology contributes to the destructive trajectory of growth, we must ask, how can we mitigate its harmful power and redirect it toward constructive creation? And what role can design play in this transformation, given that it has long been a key driver of growth-oriented development? What can we do as educators of the post-growth generation of designers? And finally, what paths do we wish to show them? These are the questions we seek to answer at the Mindful Design Studio, which I lead in Wrocław Academy. Mindful Design Studio is an interdisciplinary research and didactic platform which brings together students, researchers, and various types of specialists. Our intention is to explore alternative paths of design education, post-growth models based on promoting reflective and discourse-oriented approaches. In our teaching practices, we aim to hack the mainstream design paradigm. By decoupling design from economic growth, we promote a new understanding of technology. We see it not as a driver of creative destruction, but rather as a tool for fostering techno-empathy and enabling creative construction of alternative futures. I will first present you a model illustrating the idea of post-growth design, and then I will show you how this model translates into our design and teaching practice. But before we get into that, I would like to invite you to a small experiment, one that captures the critical and experimental nature of our work at the Mindful Design Studio. Here it is. Let's take a moment to engage not only with the content, but with your own perception of time, attention, and discomfort. What you're about to see is not a conventional interactive project, but it's a slow, repetitive, and maybe even frustrating experience. And that's intentional. So good luck. As you see here, robots engage in nonverbal dispute. One is painstakingly writing the message "don't waste time" only for the other to blur it out. This repetitive cycle echoes the mythological struggle of Sisyphus, highlighting the pressure not to waste precious time in today's fast-paced world. I suppose as you watch the robotic figures interact, you might feel confusion, irritation, or maybe a strange sense of empathy. Personally, I started to empathize with the struggling robot, and I experienced a sense of shared frustration. How about you? Were you patient enough to stay until the end? What kind of emotions did this work evoke in you? This piece illustrates how Mindful Design Studio embraces a discursive post-growth design approach. This is about rethinking the role of technology and design, not as tools for acceleration, but for reflection. To explore this approach a bit further, let me now show you the diagram that illustrates the foundational pillars we rely on. What is the most important in our approach is that instead of following market imperatives, which you see on the left, we focus on generating cultural and intellectual value. We imagine innovation not as a race for technological dominance, what is typical for the mainstream model, but as techno-empathetic, bottom-up, and self-organized process. In our post-growth paradigm, technology is reimagined as a medium for creating new, empathetic context and meanings. It seeks to foster well-being not only for humans, but also for non-human actors and ecosystems. Such an approach is developed through alternative models of speculation, critique, and mindfulness. Our goal is to complement and correct the way design is taught in most schools, often lacking the critical and philosophical foundations. This gap leads to naive approach in professional practice, where designers assume that every project is good, that design always solves problems, and that it inherently improves lives. However, if designers ignore the broader implications of their work, it is often due to how they were educated. Post-growth approach suggests that while design can indeed solve problems and improve lives, it cannot do so when practiced unreflectively and purely in service of commercial goals. This diagram highlights what matters in discursive post-growth design, what values it promotes, where they can be practiced, and how can they be shared. By illustrating the role of small non-commercial initiatives, it points to the academic context, and here the reflection and experimentation matter more than market success, and that's where Mindful Design Studio operates. We strive to manifest our post-growth approach through dissemination strategies, and especially through the exhibition Empathic Design. Today, I will walk you through a selection of curated prototypes and key material elements that bring this vision to life. Here you can see some examples. Through implemented project practices, we are trying to find a remedy for the dynamics of technological development. And to achieve this, we very often resort to so-called poetry of new technologies. What we offer are hybrid solutions, prototypes at the intersection of utilitarian objects, installations, or interfaces that aim to evoke mindfulness and empathy in the user. And the most important thing is that, in opposition to the values demonstrated in eye preacher by robots, we let ourselves and our users to waste our time for empathy, other human world around us, and for ourselves. Now the moment has come for me to present you the core elements shaping the Empathic Design exhibition. The full title is Empathic Design or Technological Concern for Better Tomorrow. To begin with, in order to pause a bit, I would like to present you Moody. This is an interactive object for nostalgic exploration. This hybrid piece analyzes personal photographs and then using AI, it generates corresponding smells. To better understand it, I suggest watching the video which will demonstrate the main features of the prototype. Now I would like to present you Plant Station, which is a modular sound installation that explores the idea of caring for plants, but not only through water and light, but through music. It is based on the hypothesis that sound, perceived as a physical phenomenon, can stimulate the plant growth. There are 9 melodies generated by an algorithm which are tailored for different types of leaves. Now let me show you a video that introduces the idea behind the project. And now spotted plants. This is a more practical solution for forgetful people to remember to water their plants. And I think video will explain you exactly how it works. Okay, and now I would like to show you a hybrid piece of furniture that encourages us to attitude of listening to nature and respect its beauty through humility. Naturophone is the facility which is interactive, but to discover its interactivity, we must keep quiet. It plays sound of nature only when users stay quiet, and it stops when they make noise. So it invites us to stillness and attention. Now I would like to show you this prototype, which invites the user to play with fire, literally and mindfully. It was designed as a therapeutic sensory object that invites a meditative contemplation of fire. It is equipped with a gas installation known as a Rubens tube. Inside, the flame line is connected to a speaker membrane and it reacts to sounds from Spotify or live instruments, creating a visible moving flame pattern in response to the music. In Mirror, it's an interactive mirror that challenges beauty standards from the social media. Activated by close contact with the user, as you see here on the picture, it replaces typical social media icon with a reassuring message, you are gorgeous as you are. So it helps us to keep the healthy distance from mainstream online aesthetics. And Elisa Razmyslieva, the author of this work, explores this topic even more deeply. In here, she combines the old technologies expressing emotions with the new ones. A typewriter is equipped with a system of interactive emoticons and a video display. And clicking on the icon, we activate a real-time video where an actor demonstrates emotions in real or fake ways. The work highlights the pitfalls of digital media, especially showing us how young people often feel pressured to project an image of happiness even when struggling with difficult emotions. It provokes reflection on who we are really like under the facade of online expression. And this is the work that allows us to keep the physical distance from digital media and such a pitfalls off desk. This is an interactive school desk with built-in Faraday cage for smartphones, and it encourages students to stow away phones during the classes. Here is the video that will give you a better understanding of the project. And now I'd like to show you the last prototype. In the picture on the left, you see the interactive lamp created as a part of my long-term project, Deplastification. Its purpose is to highlight the problem of plastic pollution. It was developed after meditative mesoplastic cleanup campaigns organized in the beaches of Gran Canaria, Ilhabela, and Baltic Sea. It is built from recycled wood and glass lab tubes filled with mesoplastics. It emits an interactive Morse code message directed at humanity, which is you. It draws attention to our contribution to plastic pollution and to the fact that we are becoming more and more plastic. As you know, recent research has found plastic in the human body. It can also be understood as a message that our future depends on ourselves. Now let me show you a video that introduces the idea behind the project. So where are we going? With this question I leave you, and please take some time to reflect. And thank you very much for your attention.